Greg Walls. Wow, what a great conversation with Greg. Man, he gets me energized. He's currently a coach. He's from Mississippi. Made his way to the DFW, to Dallas Fort Worth in Texas, where he played at Texas Christian University, TCU. He then went on to the football. This is American football here in the States, and then he went to the Washington Redskins and tried out there for a while. He then went on to coach D1, D2, and continues to coach now. And we just, I opened the conversation with, he has a great story of his take on David and Goliath from the Bible, and what could be learned from there. It's a fascinating take. And then I asked him just about the jump from the college to professional. What's coaching like now, and where the student athletes are? There's lots of changes here in the States with college athletes and to get paid and name and likeness. And I asked him completely, his opinion on that, which is refreshing, and how he coaches now and the role of parents now, and where youth sports is going. And he's got some great ideas and some great initiatives that he's doing now in competitive recreation. A lot of times we don't hear that kind of combined, but it's a great conversation with Greg Walls. He mentions discipline right away, and we get into it and what his view is on it. It's a great conversation with Greg. It went by in seconds, it seemed to me. Thanks for listening. Hi, I'm Joey Pinz. People ask me, how did I lose 130 pounds? The quick answer is always discipline. I started my business, wasn't paying attention to my health, was eating too much, drinking too much sweets. My daughter was born. Next thing I know, I'm pre-diabetic. I have hypertension. I knew something had to change. Discipline. I, like many of you, have faced many challenges in your career, in your family, in your life, in your faith. How did you attack them? How did you approach them? How did you solve them, hopefully? It all had to have some degree of discipline. I'm also asked, how did you found and start a tech business? And it lasted over 25 years. Discipline. I was committed to it, enjoyed technology, didn't enjoy some aspects of it, but knew it was necessary. Discipline. Our podcast mission, how do we use discipline to better ourselves and society? Join me, please, as I talk to interesting people and discuss how they use discipline in their family and their passion and their careers and how it helped them. Our podcast vision, growth through learning from others. Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. It'll be light and serious. Join us, please. Thank you for consideration. Yeah. Greg Walls, very, very excited to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time. So what's the real lesson we need to learn from David and Goliath?
That you have all the tools you need. And an underdog story is really based on perception or point of view. In my opinion, David had all the advantages, even beyond the fact that God was on his side. He had all the advantages. So let's look at the tails of the tape. Goliath is a big man. He's over 7 feet tall. He has a sword. He's strong, but he's limited in many capacities. David brought a gun. So in my opinion, Goliath brought a knife to a gunfight. David was quick. David was mobile, and he had a weapon that he could shoot from far. So that negates anything that Goliath could have done. And if you have any kind of skill or accuracy, which from our understanding, he was very skilled. I mean, I take him 10 times out of 10. It only makes sense in a competition. It makes sense. So you just got to pay attention to what you have, not what other people see as the obstacle or the opponent. Like if I'm going into that fight, I got my money on David.
We're always taught when I was a kid that, David has a complete disadvantage. He's this tall giant that's going to slay him, and he's slayed others. And David's kind of this weak, timid thing with a slingshot. But it's interesting, if you delve a little deeper, you'll find that he was very proficient in his slingshot, which was the equivalent of a gun back then.
Mm-hmm. And he had
And he
God on his side. So that
yeah.
increased his skill and his understanding. It wasn't that God went out there and fought the fight. It was, hey man, I'm gonna give you a gun, I'm gonna give you a lay of the land, and I'm gonna show you the opponent. Before you even have to fight him, you're gonna know about him. You're gonna get the tail of the tape. So it's the advantages are there. It's really you gotta see what you got in your hands.
So when you're coaching these student athletes and what lesson do you project onto them about David and Goliath? How do you make it
Uh
a learning moment?
discipline
Mm,
and persistence. Like I think skill and understanding are two of the most important things you can have. And I
mm,
mean that. So, skill can be increased, skill can be developed, and over
mm,
time, you can master certain skills. And then it just takes discipline and persistence.
mm,
So motivation is great because you got to be motivated, and confidence is something that is within, and you got to try to nurture that. But the things that you have to actually do, the things to work on, so that your confidence grows, so that your opportunities grow, so your persistence stays consistent, is your discipline and your skill.
mm.
We set standards of discipline and skill. If we do that with young athletes, they'll grow into disciplined, skilled athletes, and then let their
Mm.
abilities take care of itself.
I heard you talk. You mentioned you always often bring up the example of learning how to dunk. I want to learn how to dunk 10 foot, and you say, well, bring it down a little bit. Let's work on your vertical step by step. You kind of, you know, a methodical way of getting to your goal.
Yes, absolutely. So for me, Joey, I try to look at things without emotional eyes sometimes,
Mm.
right? Because how we feel is going to determine what we do about certain things for some of us. So I try to say, hey, if we get past these feelings, what are we going to do? Okay, I
Mm.
can look up and I might not have the ability to jump and dunk 10 feet. Okay, totally understand. We can increase your skill, help you learn how to maximize your height and your jump. And then you're gonna grow and you're gonna get stronger and you're gonna develop and you're gonna so those attempts will make sense later on. Just don't talk yourself out of it now, you know. So if you have any kind of ability, we can enhance the skill, and now you can go do these things you're confident in doing. And that, to me, that's school. Like that's how the education system is designed. Now whatever we're
Mm.
putting in there to be taught, that's up to us, but the system is designed for progressive success, for progressive understanding. And that's how athletics is. We just get great athletes sometimes and don't know how to progress them. Or we get lesser athletes and don't know how to develop them so that they can progress. And it's
Mm.
science. It really is. And if we take the science, couple it with how we feel, we match that with the confidence and the excitement, and don't let when people tell you something you need to hear. Like sometimes you need to hear, you can't do this, you can't do that, you're not ready for this, you're not good enough. Sometimes you need to hear that because that's what's real
Mm.
at the time. Get off your feelings. Okay, I'm not there. What steps do I need to take to get there?
Yeah, and Greg, by removing emotions and feelings, we're also talking about the ego, which kind of gets in the way, especially of men, I believe, a little bit. You got to kind of wipe that away, level the playing field, and get to your goal.
Yeah, I want to. Well, when you say it like that, it sounds like I'm saying eliminate feeling. So I'm
Mm.
not necessarily saying that, Joe. What I'm saying is take your feelings and get past them. Like put them in your pocket real quick. Like get
Uh,
past them. Don't let them dictate your next move. Right? Okay. He told me I sucked. Coach told me I need to go do something different.
Hmm.
That hurts. But I can't live there. Okay, where did that come from? Is it that he just don't like me? That might
Hmm.
not be the case. I might need to look and see where I am. And now I can increase my skill. I don't have to worry about being delusional. I might not have liked the way he said it. I might not have liked
Hmm.
the way he came at me. It might have sucked and it might have hurt my feelings. But what are you going to do when you get past that? That's what I'm saying. I think that right
Hmm.
there, and that is a part of being persistent. That's a part
Hmm.
of being disciplined. So then we're not excusing people for quitting because of how they felt. And we're not allowing people to quit when they feel some kind of way,
Hmm.
and if we can live in that, I think a lot of things, you'll get better coaching, you'll
Hmm.
get better athletes, you'll get more disciplined kids in school, if we just get past how we feel at the moment and try to hear what's being actually being said. And then we can revisit, all right, so now that I know what my plan is or what I need to do or what steps we taking, I don't really appreciate the way you said what you said. Now we
Hmm.
can get into that. But if you
I
live
see.
in feelings, you don't get anything done.
Hmm. Easier for some, more difficult for others. Yeah, it's a
No
good place
doubt.
to be. Yeah. So
No
you're
doubt.
born and raised in Picayune, Mississippi. You're first in your family, I believe, to get a 4-degree college there at TCU. You were with the Washington Redskins. You coached at the D1, D2 level. You're coaching now. Through all of this, Greg, are you more of a coach or a teacher at this point?
Hmm. I would say because of the way I approach it, I'm more of a teacher.
Hmm.
You know, because I tell kids all the time, I can't coach you on game day. You got to go play.
Hmm.
I can't coach you on game day. I got to coach the game. So the opportunity to coach is scheduled, basically. The rest of the time we're teaching. The rest of the time we're learning and we're teaching.
Hmm.
So I would say because of the way I approach it, and I do quite a bit of performance training, I'm more of a teacher still. And my degree is in education. So
Hmm.
by profession and by degree, I'm a teacher. But I think both titles hold some serious weight when we can do it the right way.
I talked to a decent amount of therapists and I talked to coaches. And when I ask the differences, I generally see the therapists go back and coaches go forward. But I never really made the comparison with a coach and a teacher. It's interesting.
hmm hmm
Similar.
It's it's all progressive. It's
Mm,
all the same. It not only is it similar, it's more. It's imperative that the approach is like that. Meet them where they are. Get to the standards
mm,
that you're trying to get them to. Execute for the result you're looking for. You know, it's not no child left behind. Now, what I mean by that is we got to have standards of operation for understanding to get the result you're looking for. Here's the
mm,
difference. Many people choose to be on a team. They don't get to choose to go to school. They choose their
mm,
classes, but they don't choose to go to school. Like you go to school because you have to. If all I could do was play and be coached, that's what I would do. So it's the approach and it's easier to coach kids because they're there because they want to be. That's one part
mm,
of it. Um, and then it's how you feel about what you're doing. Like if I'm in class and it's boring, it's boring. But the approach is still the same. You have to learn sounds before you learn words. You know, you have to learn words before you learn sentences. You have to learn sentences before
mm,
paragraphs. You can't just dive in. But I need to
mm,
find out where you are. Eighth grade, third grade, sixth grade. Where are you? It doesn't matter because I got to get you to this standard if we want to win a
mm,
championship, if you want to pass this class, If we want to get to where we need to be, I have to get you here.
Hmm.
So I think if we take that approach, um, it makes us all better. It's not easy, and a lot of time it's time consuming, and it consumes time you may not have. But as a professional, that's what would make it better.
Hmm.
That's the approach I think we should, and you'd have a healthy respect for both sides, because many coaches are teachers, so we understand, and then some people are just teachers, so they understand the education part and the rotational part, and the absence of team is whereas the disconnect is.
Hmm. Interesting. When there's no team, so a teacher doesn't typically look at the students as a team, whereas a coach
Correct,
does. I never thought about
correct.
that.
Because teams have the same goal.
Hmm.
Classmates may have common goals, similar goals,
Hmm.
things of that, but we're all running towards the same thing as a team. In class, we just running around.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know
Hmm.
what I mean?
Yeah,
So
it's more individual. Yeah.
it's hard to, yeah, it's hard to grab 20 individuals and get them on the same page. It's not hard to get a team on the same page, a
Greg,
25
talk to
member
me
team,
about,
because we all running towards the
yeah,
same thing.
right, the team sports and those sports that excuse me, that aren't like golf and maybe even tennis, but you still end up being a team, especially at the university level, even though it's an individual sport. So you still have a common goal. So tell me what it was like. Like you were at Texas Christian, excellent football school, was in the finals not too long ago. Wonderful there
Yeah, yeah,
in Dallas or in Fort Worth, I believe, and
yeah. Mm-hmm.
VFW anyway. Excuse me. And then going to the you know, trying out for the then Washington Redskins. What kind of leap is that we just don't understand?
You know, you then, it's different. So then you went from a college student to a world of professionalism where, although it's your job in college, you have outside things you have to do to
Mm,
continue to do what you're doing in college. In the pros, that's your job. You're a professional at that moment, and it's competitive the entire time. And the eye, the eye in the sky don't lie, and it moves fast, and everybody's at a different level. So it's the mental part first. Can you adjust and adapt, and how quickly can you adjust and adapt? And then where is your skill level? Because you get to see really quick where you match up, where you are in
mm,
that process. And then it's the speed. And it's not just the speed of the people, it's the speed of everything, the reaction time, the understanding and the concept, getting downhill or uphill on plays. So that transition, it's how quickly can you transition, how quickly can you
mm,
download that information and then execute, and then what kind of skill level are you executing at? you know yeah, it's draft picks and business and politics and all of that, but it's still, that's the transition. It's fast, and many people who get cut are good enough to play.
mm.
It's not that they wouldn't have been there had they not been good
Right.
enough, but there are a lot of factors that don't allow you to play as long as you would like to. And that's just real. And a lot of it is skill, competition, and numbers.
Mm. Can those with less, not a lot, but just a little less skill, but mentally ready for it, still make it? Or you got to have both?
Absolutely. You
Right.
got to have both, but absolutely, because then you have an understanding of what you're getting into. That's how you increase your speed in the speed of the
Mm,
game. Man, the Bible, regardless of what people believe, the Bible is, like, whatever your religion is. The Bible is one of the greatest learning tools, in my opinion, that I've ever read, because it
mm,
says, "In all thy getting, and everything you get understanding." Right? If you understand and you can download information about what's going on and you know your job and the people's jobs around you, you're automatically a better player.
Mm.
You're automatically a better player. It's like when you play, it's like when I was 15, 16, and I was with my homeboys and we ran basketball games against old cats, and we couldn't understand why they was beating us.
Hmm.
We was running on ability and we could out jump them and,
Mm.
all
Mm.
this other cool stuff. But, we could jump out to a lead. We play to 11. We jump out 4-0, 5-0, and then get ran off the court 11-5. We
Wow.
couldn't understand it. Well, they understood how to play the game. They understood
Mm.
what their skill level was and how to enhance their opportunity. The quicker you
Hmm.
can do that, you're a better player because you're there faster. Your response time is better. Your skill is better. Tom Brady. Tom Brady, one of the greatest player to ever play. He ain't the most athletic player to ever play,
Right.
but he understood. He understood everything that was
Mm.
going on out there. So as the longer he played, the better he got.
And he was a low draft pick too, and
Yeah,
you just
seventh
can't
seventh
you
round
don't
pick.
know. Something like that, yeah. Turns out to be the greatest,
So
arguably the greatest quarterback of all time. Yeah.
and he was a backup. So that's what I mean. That's how that,
Right.
that he was a backup.
Yeah, Bledsoe, yeah.
Tom Brady was backing up Drew Bledsoe.
Yeah. I know, and then Bledsoe got hurt. Yeah, it's a crazy story.
Yeah, you
Now,
see what
how
I'm
about
saying? So, but it's well,
yeah,
well, I'm gonna say this. It's only crazy to the public. He was
right.
just waiting on his opportunity.
That's right.
But what does that tell you? Like that's the skill level. Like that's the
Mm.
margin of skill in professional athletics in America. That's the margin. So when we go, that guy sucks or that guy does, no, that's not the case all the time. That's that margin is that.
And how about the coaching, Greg? Compared, not specifically, right, from TCU to the Redskins, but what the difference between the coaching that you receive from college to professional? Was that a big difference? What's the difference there?
For me, in my opinion, and then as a being able to coach in college.
Yeah.
So in college, we spend more time prepping the kids for plays, for our system, for plays, for preparation and what to do.
Hmm.
That's in the pros, you get more preparation from coaches on how to do.
Hmm.
They expect you to come in and know what to do. That's your job. And that's what you do all day. It's like going to work, right? It's not just practice and leave. It's film, it's study, it's practice, all those things. So they teach you more how to do. And
Interesting.
college is more, all right, we got to do this. This is what to do. This is the system we're putting these athletes in there to be able to do this. So that's more of my experience. And and just to take a step back, in high school, it's more I need you to know how to do these things so we can do this. So because I have to teach, my
Uh,
time is now extremely limited. I have to teach you what to do and then get you as prepared as best I can on how to do it.
hmm.
Which is why trainers and instructors and performance coaches have jobs because good ones, they have to spend that time on how to do and work with these coaches so they can spend that time on what to do. And
Wow.
that's where that communication needs to be solid. That's where relationships matter. And that's where understanding comes into play. That's how I've stayed in business for years. I'm a coach and I do training. So I have to understand it's both sides and I understand the importance of both. You have to be as an instructor, you have to be more of an assistant or a pathway for these athletes when they get on their field of play with those other coaches.
Because Greg, where do you stand with the college players being paid? So name, image, and likeness has that's been around for a couple of years now, but I think they just passed something where they're actually going to start paying the students, the NCAA, because of some of the lawsuits. Where are you with that?
I love that they're getting paid. I
Hmm.
do. I love that they're getting paid. I won't put my hand in anybody's pocket. I,
Hmm.
I wish it would have been happening earlier.
Huh.
But I mean, I also think as a fan and as a coach, you got to put some guardrails on it. You know,
Hmm.
if they can figure out some standard operating procedures or guardrails to keep people from jumping ship and living in the portal and taking the best
Hmm.
contracts after a short period of time, if they can kind of like guardrail it, I think it'll be great for all involved. It's tough right now for coaches, and I understand, but at the same time, hey man, get your money. A lot of y'all are the reason people come to those schools on Saturdays and spend that money, or they buy those
Hmm.
video games and like go get your money. I think it's fair. I just think they got to figure out how to guardrail it a little bit.
Yeah, because they're just making so much money. I mean, the largest sport, the most watched, largest sport in the United States is the NFL. Second is college football. I mean, it does better than the NBA, than the Major League Baseball. I mean, it makes so much money, and not to give it to the ones that are actually executing and making the plays. This is But you're right, there has to be some limit on it, because you hear these stories, Greg, of like high school kids in Texas, gonna get $1 million before they even
Well,
step onto the field, right? It's
yeah, but then I do want to interrupt. I apologize, but I do
yes.
want to interrupt. I don't
Mm.
mean guardrail the amount of money they can make. Go make
Ah.
your money. Like, no, hey man, let your pockets overflow. I'm saying like how they go about it. Like if there's some kind of different operating procedures where you can't just keep hopping
Mhm.
back and forth to this school or that school, or there's some kind of standards that are more fair for the college system. But the kids,
Mm.
if somebody wants to come in there and you're a running back and you rush for umpteen yards and you are the face of the school and somebody want to give you however many dollars, negotiate that, buddy. That's life.
That's right. It sure is. What is the state of youth sports right now, in your opinion, Greg, from what you've seen?
I don't think we're in a good place.
Mm.
Um, I'm a believer in recreational sports. I'm a big believer in what recreational sports used to do to and for the community. I'm a
Mm.
big believer in the neighborhood, looking after the neighborhood through recreational sports.
Mm.
Uh, I'm a big believer in rec sports and the ability that it has to build community within the schools in that community. And I think that the direction that select sports and AAU sports and these other organizations, as I've worked with them and in some of them, I don't like the direction. It's not. It limits the competition. It
Mm.
grows the field for participation without true development, and it's a lot with not the return that's discussed through a bunch of those clubs. I think we get back to recreational sports, recreational development, um, affordable pricing, and community building. And everybody can win like that. And you can still make your money. I know that for a fact. You can still make your money. It's just need some guardrails on that too, man. We need some guardrails on that too. I understand competition and I love competition. And I think
Mm.
competition is key to any success in any sport. You got to learn that at an early age. At the same time, I think the competitive dance or the competitive imbalance based on a bunch of high dollar organizations takes away from the growth opportunity. I really do. And there are some amazing select organizations out there. Okay, make no mistake about it. But I ain't a fan of the design. I mean, recreational sports raised me. If we had those same, quality coaches uh, to infuse themselves in those communities and build those teams there, can you imagine how strong your community will be? Can you imagine how strong your high school teams will be? And I know it works. It's called a feeder system. I know it works. We're working one. We have great friend of mine, my business partner, Brent Springfield, runs, created and designed the Elementary Sports League. It's a recreational sports league that we run through a school feeder. And the high school kids coach the elementary school kids because they're being coached by people like me, by coaches on
Wow.
how to develop these kids. That's happening right now. And we have a flag football league where we're doing that right now. And we take those same kids and myself, I have 30 certifications. I've been in sports performance coaching for more than 18, 19 years now. I've written and built programs. I am by title what's considered a master trainer. We have a developmental program where we teach running fundamentals and agility and we try to enhance that through the elementary school kids. I teach myself and other coaches teach the high school kids how to train those kids. So I know it works. All at an affordable price, and we pay those kids for doing that job.
Wow.
So that's what we're trying. So what you learn from me, Joe, is when I say something, if I'm complaining about something, I'm literally trying to do something about it.
Right.
So I'm not gonna say that and then somebody say, well, what are you doing? Well, this is what we're doing. We have the elementary sports league. Seed Sports has an elementary sports league where we do exactly what I said. And we'll have basketball as our next sport. So we have an indoor developmental program. Those same kids come through that program, then they play through a recreational league setting. We take those kids and they play a championship, and we develop those same elementary school kids, prepping them for middle school. And we ask coaches, hey, what are the things that they need to know how to do before they get to you? And that's what we
Mm.
teach.
So you started saying that it's not in a good place, but here's a great solution. Why did it get to such a bad place? Why aren't there more programs like what you're describing right now?
Money,
Ah.
competition, because and
Mm.
to build a program like that, you have to insert the competitive opportunity. Remember, it's rec. So you're building these kids to be able to compete, and you're also bringing kids from that community that are already at a higher level, so it increases the competition. On the other side, it's a lot of games, a lot of kids, a lot of things being said, but it's hard to deliver on those things because of how widespread and how expanded it is. So it's
Mm.
difficult. That's why we're getting to that place. And some organizations are independent and not very good. They can't hold up on their promises. They stack teams, so you're really not selected. You're just
Yep.
when I say stack, they just grab anybody. If you can pay the price, you're selected to come play. So but again, on the other side of that, you have some real good organizations doing a great job, doing the same similar things of what we're doing at a higher price. And
Mm.
that's just real. That's what the numbers say. It's not just what Greg is saying.
Mm.
Select eliminates an opportunity for some, creates an opportunity that may not be deserved according to the path for others. You know, and
And what?
it makes it difficult for the high schools and the middle schools in those areas to put a consistent competitive team on the field because their players are playing select and not
Huh.
playing for the school.
We see that happening.
In
I played
softball,
soccer
it's
and
happening. In volleyball and in
softball.
soccer, I know it's
Yeah,
happening because
yeah.
they sign contracts that say you're going to play these games. So now your
Right.
soccer school team, nobody's going to come see you play. Not there.
Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, my high school, I played soccer, and that was everything. That was everything. A
There you
select
go.
team. Well, I don't know, but now it's absolutely changed. And what's the role of the parents in this?
Stay out the way.
Ha!
Stay out of the way. We're not doing daddy ball. We're not taking suggestions on how to coach. We have rules that say any problems, parents, if there's a problem, if there's anything that will cause a problem, cause harm, or take away from the integrity of the program, you need to come see us, see the owners of the company or the management. Don't talk to the kids. Don't leave the coaches alone.
Mm,
Okay, the coaches are accountable to us. We're accountable to the parents. And that's the line. Stay out of the way. If you want to help, here's how you can help. You can, when you see wrong, say wrong. You spot something, mentor these kids. You're an adult. These are your kids. Mentor these kids. Show them the right path. Come tell us what happened so we can go take care of it immediately. Stay off of the field. Stay out of the middle of the field. So we just want parents to
mm,
be parents
mm,
and go cheer for their kids. That's their role. Stay out of the way. We do, for example, Joe, I'll give you an example. And Coach Bo Springfield put this together. It was masterful. We play on Saturdays. We played our flag league games on Saturdays. Well, 8 o'clock, all the kids were to come into a room and they get a 15-minute talk on a topic from the high school kid that's coaching their team or representative that plays on the high school team. And they would
mm.
talk about discipline or accountability and confidence. So their role is we teaching those kids how to speak in front of small crowds and how to get their confidence up and know what they're talking about. So they speak to the elementary school kids. You want to know what the role of the parent is in there? Nothing. Don't speak.
Mm.
Don't ask questions. Just pay attention if you're in there, or you don't have to come in there. We're trying to show them that path of independence and have to understand how to deal with other people in a competitive setting. Because that's real. Your parents can't go to school with you. And they don't need to be a part of every conversation. You need to learn how to handle situations. If you're not
Oh.
playing, your parents will need to be involved. You need to find out why you're not playing and get better.
Mm.
The parent's role is to mentor and guide these kids when they see wrong. Other than that, cheer.
Sounds like a great conversation. I coached my daughters in soccer, and I forget which daughter it was, but I think it was around 7, 8 years old, that area. And I'd kind of meet with the team and the parents, kind of every few games. And I don't know, it was about halfway the season. And I said, parents, great job of bringing them water and making sure their hair is up. This kind of stuff. And the kids are doing great. And one of the fathers said, raised his hand, and said, I don't think we're doing as well as we should on corner kicks. We should use this as an opportunity to score more. And so in front of the kids and everybody, I said, this is great. We're now going to dedicate 15 minutes to corner kicks at all practices. Now that Mr. Johnson has volunteered himself to do that,
Mm-hmm.
we're really, and
Mm-hmm.
he just stepped back, and
Mm-hmm.
no parents said anything else after that.
And I understand, and I'm not taking shots because
Right.
it's their kids. Like parents are
Yes.
gonna look after their kid,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
But they're not our kid. So our
Mm,
job is to look after all of the kids.
that's right.
You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying? And that's the message we're trying to get across. Like, I don't care who wins, I don't care who loses. I just care that the kids had a great time and they competed, and
Mhm.
that the kids that are coaching them learned how to deal with their younger peers. That's all
Mm.
we care about. Parents care about winning, and I get that, and we care about how the kids get treated, but we don't just care about your kid, and that's the message that we're trying to get across. Like, we take suggestions, email us suggestions, let us know what you think. How do we make
Mm,
things better? But you ain't making decisions
mm.
because that's not real world. You can't go into AT&T and make decisions on what products they put out or how their
Exactly.
standard operation procedure is.
Right.
You can't. You just got to trust that we're going to do what we say we're going to do. And if we don't, you call us on it.
Mm,
But stay out of the way. Let them learn how to compete.
mm. And I've heard you talk about that, Greg. Is like you still put a focus at a certain level, of course, at the college level on you still want to work hard to win, correct?
1,000%. Ain't no sense in playing if you ain't winning. Ain't no
Right.
sense in working hard if you're not winning. The name of the game is winning. That's why I keep
Mm,
talking about competition. You got to learn how to compete. You got to learn how to win. You got to learn not to cry when you get pushed down and your
mm.
parent was sprinting on the field to come save. Nah, man, the game is going on. Let this play out. Your kid ain't dying. How are they going to respond to this adversity
Yeah.
without you? You got to learn how to compete because you compete to win. But again, I don't care who wins. So I don't want a parent to come talking to me about, well, my kid's not getting the ball. So they have to get better
Mm,
because we're not teaching, you need to throw to this one person or you need to get. No, coaches are learning how to coach the game to win.
mm.
That's where the teaching comes in. And that's why we do it like that. Because, like I said, it's some really good organizations, some really good instructors. There's some great teachers and coaches out there.
Mm.
I know them personally. I know some amazing instructors. Okay. But I don't know thousands of them. You know what I mean? And I know certain things have to go a certain way for community to win.
I just couldn't imagine my life without being part of sports teams. I played soccer, I played basketball, I played baseball. It just shaped me. It just learns. So you're not by yourself. You're learning you're part of a team, and that translate to families and to work and to wherever you go. It's just it's essential for me. And my girls played, and they got to a certain point that they didn't want to play anymore. I said that's fine, but you're going to substitute it with something else. You have to keep moving. You have to keep exercising. Those parents that force their kids to play, and I'm sure you've seen it too. That's on them. The kids should, substitute it with something that they love.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let me ask you a question. What does team mean? Like, what lessons did you learn, or are you still learning from being a part of a team?
Well, I'm always learning. That's my goal, to always keep learning. I'm extremely curious. It's one of the reasons why I love talking to smart people like yourself. But to me, it's essential to be part of a team because it's not just about you. You're now part of a group. I made some of my best friends in my life that I still hold to this day. I played soccer with some of my friends who were 10 years old. I'm a 56-year-old man, and I'm still, you learn, you're together, I don't want to say live or die, but not that extreme, but you're just, you were fighting at some of those games, and you're together, and the camaraderie and just the solid friendships. It's just wonderful and essential, I feel. How about yourself?
So, what I learned quite a bit from being a
Mm,
part of a team, but the two things I've realized that I take from team is patience
mm,
and accountability.
mm,
Because as I get older, those are two things that make you a better team. And
hmm,
like, as a team of coaches, you got a lot of personalities. Some have a little more experience than others. So we're rooted into certain beliefs or standards. So your patience is going to get tested, and you have to
Mm,
be open to listening, because the goal is same page. Agree or disagree, are we on the same page?
mm,
And then accountability. Did I do what I was assigned to do, or did I do what I said I was going to do?
mm,
Even if I hadn't completed it, am I still working towards doing what I said I was going to do?
hmm,
I might not have hit the deadline. I might not have did it right. But when it's done, did I do what I said I was going to do? So that
mm,
means I got to go back and fix it. That's what I said I was going to do. I didn't do it right the first time. I didn't do it. But this is what I came back and got it done. I didn't get
mm,
that to you the time, man, that I said I was. Let's make some adjustments. But it got done. That
mm,
accountability, and it allows other people to be
mm.
patient with you. So that's what I've been learning and being a part of teams. I like you said, Joe. I can't imagine my life not being a part of a team.
Mm.
That's a hard situation for me, because teams and coaches shaped my life. You know what I mean? Not
Mm.
work or coworkers, but teams and coaches shaped my life. So it's hard to imagine being without teammates.
It really is. And you're so right, Greg, because the accountability is huge because you can make goals all day long, but if you're not held accountable by someone or something, it really doesn't mean anything. I mean, even it translates now. So I've moved to golf now, right? I can't do impact sports anymore. I'm at a certain age. And when I play, in a golf tournament with a person, a twosome, I have one rule. And that one rule is never say I'm sorry. We're both trying hard. You don't have to say that. I know you didn't do that on purpose.
Right.
We're both trying. We both want to win. We are. You wouldn't be my partner if I didn't think you. We want to win. Don't say I'm sorry, man. Just
Exactly.
pick your head up and make up for it next shot.
Exactly. The best apology is action, not words.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? You tell me, you step on my toe and you tell me you're sorry. It's all good. And then you walk back across the room and you step on my toe again and tell me you're sorry. It's hard for
yeah,
me to believe you're
yeah,
sorry.
we got a problem. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
hard for me to believe you're sorry. Whether we got a problem or not, it's like, I don't know if you're as sorry as you say you are.
Mm,
You
mm,
know. Um, but if you stop, I know you didn't mean it.
yeah.
Or you understand what you did and you're no longer doing it. You know. But if you keep doing it, I don't know how sorry you really are. I mean, I'm not a big fan of apologies either. I say that now.
Mm,
I've always sounded, it always sounded different than what I meant, but you put it a better way. That's what I mean. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like,
yeah,
don't
yeah.
you don't have to tell me you're sorry. I don't give a damn. Just
Right.
just
I
don't
don't.
do it. You know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It happens, man. Come on,
Yeah,
let's go.
yeah,
You got, especially in golf, you gotta have a short memory.
yeah.
You got to forget. You can't do anything about that now. What's your advice to coaches now, Greg Walls, in youth sports? What's your advice to them?
Remember that they're kids.
Mm,
So what
mhm,
lessons are you trying to teach? If you want them to win, you got to teach them how to win. You want them to compete, you got to teach them how to compete. You can't just wait on the result and respond or react based on the result. That's the hardest part, because you coach for a result, right? But a kid could be at the plate, he 3 for 3, is in the bottom of the sixth or seventh inning. He's 10, 12 years old. He's been 3 for 3. He's killing it. And he comes
mm,
up and the pitcher throws a slider and he whiffs, and now he's 3 for 4. He struck out and the game is over and they lose.
mm,
Don't let the result dictate your actions towards that kid. Don't let the result do it. Coach the situation, not the result.
hmm.
You learn that working with young people, you start building winners, because I've seen kids hit doubles and have bad attitudes, and I snatch them off the bag. Like, hey, look here, man.
Mm,
Celebrate, do your thing, celebrate with your teammates. But the moment you a bad sport, we got to have a different conversation.
mm, mm,
So
mm,
don't coach the result. The result is part of what you've been working
Hmm.
on all week or all month. You know,
That's great advice. So, Greg, I started my business in the '90s, and I was working way too hard. 14, 16-hour days. I wasn't exercising as much, and poor diet, staying up late, drinking soda, eating pizza. And before you know it, I got myself up to 340 pounds.
whoa.
So yeah, I'm 205 now, 210 now. So um doctor said to me, if I don't lose the weight, I'm not going to see my daughter graduate. Now she was just born. So I remember the drive home thinking, I put myself here. Nobody opened up my mouth. I put myself here and I'm going to get myself out. So for the next 7 months, I lost about 130 pounds. And it's not just a finish line. People, when they lose weight, they look at it as a finishing line. They gain it right back. You have to make a complete change. And people always ask me, like they want a quick answer, Greg. People want quick solutions. And how'd you do it? How'd you do it? My one word answer that you've mentioned more than once in this conversation is discipline. That's how I did it. That's how I lost the weight. That's how I keep it off. Discipline. And I wonder how discipline plays a role in your life, Greg Walls.
It plays a major role. Um, I get up early every morning, right? Just it went from a discipline to a habit. Right? I get
Mm,
up. I'm up by 5 o'clock every morning.
wow.
Not because I have to be. It's because I want to be, and I've
Mm,
created it for me. But I look at discipline like this. Discipline is not about consequences.
hmm,
Discipline is about results. So, and discipline is based on consistency.
mhm,
For example, you give me a kid that I can work with once a week for 48 weeks. He'll be 48 hours better if they're disciplined enough to spend 5 or 10 extra minutes a day working on what they're working on.
hmm,
Discipline doesn't take extensive thought, and it's not even about sacrifice. That's the word I'm looking for.
hmm,
Discipline is not about sacrifice. Discipline is about consistent action.
hmm,
Whatever that action is, if you can build it in little things, you can build it in big things. So, some discipline is forced. If I don't pay my rent, if I don't pay the mortgage, gotta go. You see
hmm,
what I'm saying? So I gotta be disciplined enough to hold that money back. Okay, it's part of life. But if I want to lose 130 pounds, I got to get up. However many days I've decided to get up and go do this. I got to do these things or eat these things like this if I want to do this. So it's really not
hmm,
about I don't get to do this. Now I can't. It's not about that. Discipline is not about consequences. It's about consistent action. So that's the way I approach it. When I started back, I got out of shape. I went through a time my father had passed, and the year prior was a little tough for me, and so I didn't do much. And it sounds interesting coming from somebody who lives in a world of fitness and performance.
hmm,
Um, but I made a decision to get back to being consistent. So I had to be disciplined. But I made a decision. Why you make the decision, it's totally up to you. But you got to make a decision. So
hmm,
that's the way I view it. Whatever decision I made, that's what I got to stand on. That's discipline.
hmm,
You want to test your discipline? Do a 3-day fast.
hmm,
But before you do it, research it. Like, know what you're going into, because if you understand what you're getting into, it makes discipline that much easier.
hmm,
That's why in all that get understanding. If I know for 3 days, if I go into it and say for 3 days I can't eat, it's going. I just made it. But if I say, okay, what's going to happen on day one? Let me do this research. Let me find out what I'm getting into. What do I need to do before I start? Oh, day two. Okay. Oh, That's going to be the most difficult day. I can
Mm,
prepare
mm,
myself for that. You know what I'm saying? Day 3, that's where I get all my results. That's where autophagy begins, and that's where ketones is and all that other cool stuff. Okay, so I
mm,
can do
mm,
this. I just got to get my mind ready for whatever 3 days I choose. When you choose those days, you made that decision. Stand on it. That's
mm,
discipline. That way, when you eat that donut, or you have, like, you understand. You know, oh, I know I shouldn't do this. Like, okay, I'll do this instead of that.
mm.
Same result.
Did you always define yourself as disciplined, even from a young man in Mississippi, then going to Texas? No.
Nah, man, I did. I was, I'm, I was coachable, definitely, and I was confident and I was persistent. So I did
Mm,
what I was asked to do, but I didn't do, and I did extra work. I worked hard. Let me make that. But there were some things that I could have not done that would have made me better.
hmm,
You know what I'm saying? And I didn't have the discipline, nor did I want it to not do it. But as you get older, you start to understand what it
mm.
looks like.
I just recently heard this quote. Mike Tyson said it, but I'm not sure if he is originator. But he said that discipline is doing things that you don't like to do and liking it or
There you
loving
go.
it. Yeah,
This is what I'm gonna do.
yeah.
This is what I'm gonna do. And you love it if you understand what you're doing it for.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? Like, why am I doing this? Well, I'm doing it because I want my arms to be buff. All right, cool. If
mm,
that's your reason, don't. That's your reason. Or I'm doing this because I need to be able to run around with my daughter. You
mm.
know, so that feeling can enhance or increase your discipline. So use it like that, but don't lead with it. Lead with the decision
Mm.
and feel some type of way about the decision, and that will move your actions.
Yeah, discipline it could be a tool to get to your goal. You know, I have this ongoing thesis that discipline is a spectrum of some of the things we talked about: routine, order, willpower, focus, restraint, obedience. And I recently had somebody. I saw some musicians at a venue here, and I reached out to them. I said, "I'd love to have you on the podcast," and they said, uh, "Your podcast talks about discipline. That's not us, so I don't want to do it." And I said, "You know, even not being a participant in discipline is still a form of discipline, I believe. And perhaps it's something we can explore. I some people have this militant, they think discipline, it's like I gotta get up at 5 and I gotta fold the bed and I gotta eat 3 squares. I, that's there's no wrong answer to how discipline plays a role in your life.
Yeah, and what you're speaking about is a regimen.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to be regimented, you just have to be consistent.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now, for some people, a regiment works. Like, if people need an itinerary, at 7 o'clock this, 10 o'clock that. I
Right.
mean, you
Yes.
know,
Routine. Yeah.
but life is a real situation. And what happens if something knocks you off your regiment? Are you now undisciplined? Are you gonna not do
Mm,
that act because it's not the right time frame? No, that's not fair to anybody. It's discipline is about consistency. I can't ask a person 330 pounds to all of a sudden stop doing everything they were doing and start doing this. That's not
mm,
real, because the moment you miss one or two of those things on the list, you feel like you failed. You no longer live by that regiment. Now you're undisciplined. Well, it's
mm.
about consistency. You know, if you're adding things, take things away. If you're pushing things, pull things. Let's be consistent. If we're gonna do it on Monday, let's do it on Monday. You're gonna do it at night, let's do it at night. You're gonna do it in
Mm.
the morning, let's do it in the morning. You know, you're gonna do it on Wednesdays. I expect to see you every Wednesday. That right there, you get a lot of success like that.
You certainly do. And, going back to the musician, I mean, they're playing a musical instrument. It takes a certain amount of skill, discipline, dedication to play that guitar, that piano, that cello, whatever it is you're playing. It's an interesting discussion. What motivates you, Greg Walls?
Success.
Mm,
Uh, I like to see plans play out, like the result. The results do motivate me. And then testing abilities. Like I
hmm,
like to see what I can do or what I can still do. Um, those are the things that motivate me. I don't, and like I said, I'm never unmotivated.
mm,
Like I love my life and getting up in the morning. Um, but I don't have just one thing that motivates me. Like I guess teaching and coaching and developing is why I do what I do.
mm.
But I'm just enjoying what I'm doing, and I like to see results. So I guess that could motivate me as I continue to train and learn certain things. So I'm motivated by understanding.
Hmm.
I'm motivated by understanding. I need to understand what I'm doing or what's going on or what the outlook is. I'm motivated by understanding.
Sounds like impact is very important to you as well.
Oh yeah, man.
Mm,
The result is important, but like I said
yeah.
earlier, you know, you ain't got to coach me up on the result. Trust me, I'm trying to get the same thing you're trying to get. Coach me
Mm.
up on what I did right or wrong, so I can switch the result. But don't judge me on the result. You know,
So, given that motivation, Greg, how do you measure success?
wins and losses. Did I get the
Really?
result that I wanted? Yeah. So let me make that clear. Yeah. If I choked, I choked, right? If I didn't get what I was looking for, it won't be because of lack of effort. It won't be because of lack of anything. It won't be because of that. It will be because it didn't work out the way I wanted it to,
Hmm.
you know, but it won't be because of anything I didn't do,
Hmm.
right? So when I say that, it's like, well, you must like don't treat it like that, you know. Uh, at the same time, what how did I get to that point to have the opportunity to win this thing or lose this thing? You know what I'm saying? And that's where I need to get better or, you know, define where that the actual success lies. Because if you do it like that, you'll win a lot more than you lose. I'm a winner,
Hmm.
man. Winning matters. I'm gonna cry at the end. I'm gonna be upset. I'm gonna slam my head on the table. I'm gonna be frustrated. I'm gonna look inside and see where I went wrong to not get what I wanted. I'm gonna do all of those things. Okay. I also want if you're gonna coach me up on that.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna do that. I'll beat myself to death not getting the result that I wanted. You know what I'm saying? I don't really care what when I say don't coach me on that, I don't really care what you think because you weren't in that position. Now,
Hmm.
if you've been in that position, you might be able to help me. It's same as business, Joe. Like, you know, I know a lot of people in business where, you work and you work and you grind and, somebody on the outside has an opinion of things that are unknown based on a result that may not even be common or consistent, right? I don't care what they think. I do care what you think about the work or if the customer service was on point or if you were treated fairly. Those are
Hmm.
things judge me on so I can fix that so we can get the result that you're looking for.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, can you still, lose the battle but win the war? Yeah, we lost the game, but we got, 1,500 rushing yards, or we converted, and we still did a lot of great things. So there's still kind of victories, and even though a full loss. Do you feel that way?
No, I feel
Really?
like, yeah, in a 4 quarter game, you can lose battles. You can lose the first quarter, you can lose the second quarter, and you can lose
Uh,
the third quarter and come out on top 56-55 and win the war.
Wow.
Yeah, like winning, you play to win the game, man.
Mm,
But what needs to be fixed is, what did I do in that fourth quarter that I didn't do in that first,
interesting.
second, third quarter? Because I got another war I need to go fight.
Mm,
So yeah, you can lose the battles. You can lose. You can go out there and they go 18 for 20 from the free throw line, and you go 11 from 20 from the free throw line and win the game 98-90. You won the war.
mm,
But just remember, that free throw battle could cost you a war. You need to go work on that.
mm, mm. Greg Walls, I was so excited when we set this up. I love your insight. I love your passion. Thank you so much for your time. Anybody listening, how can they get in touch with you?
Well, thank you for having me. If you're listening, you can find us at the Performance Experience on Facebook, Performance Experience on Instagram and Twitter. Our website, it just gives an overview of programs and where they are and what we do, is PE Sports and rec.com. It's a great place. And then two more places. YouTube. Go to the Performance Experience
Yes.
YouTube channel. We have quite a few drills. We have quite a few good things there. Just go down that rabbit hole of information. You'll see all kind of stuff. And then everybody who's listening, I want you to check out the Elementary Sports League. We're updating our website, but you'll see we have an elementary sports league through Seeds Sports, and it's great. And that's our contribution, giving back, trying to get back to competitive recreational sports. I'll say
Mm,
it again: competitive, Joe.
right.
Not daddy ball, not trying to find anybody to come out there and volunteer. Competitive recreational sports. We
That's great.
believe it builds the community, it helps strengthen the neighborhood and the local businesses. We believe that. We've seen it. We got data that says those things. So that's where they can find us. And then if you got any questions, you can email me or email us at info@pesportsandrec.com.
We'll make sure we put them all in the show notes. Like you said, website, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, even TikTok. You've got great videos on
Yeah,
TikTok,
well,
Twitter,
thank you.
and
Good.
YouTube. Greg, thank you so much for your time. I hope when I'm in your neck of the woods, maybe we get together and, have a cup of tea or something.
Man, that'd be great, man. We can come on out. It's pretty cool spots out here, man. So come on out. We'll make it fun.
Thank you so much. You be well.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening and or viewing Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. Please share this episode with one or two of your friends who you think may benefit from the episode. Our website, www.joeypins.com. There you'll find lots of resources and you could join our mailing list. Please follow us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Podcast information, the video version of our podcast is on YouTube. Please subscribe. Audio is on all major podcasting platforms. Please follow them. And if you like it, please consider giving 5-star rating. Would really appreciate that. Thank you again for listening or watching Joey Pin's Discipline Conversations.